time. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Good day, good day, good day. Greetings all. Today is obviously October 9th. It's a Thursday and you're tuned into Context Matters. If you are joining me from Reggae Global Radio, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are joining me from TikTok, big up yourself. And I see you, John Carroll. I see you. As well as all the people from YouTube. You know how it goes. It's a Context Matters Thursday. Big up yourself, Sean B, Viv Chin, Walking in Divine Purpose, my moderator. Big up Audrey Cook. Big up Gaza Security 238, Freedom Street. Audrey Cook, Kevin Flinch, Joy McKenzie, Never Stoddart, Marjorie Princess Webby, Dorette McCoy, Kathleen Smith. You know, hear me pronouncing the name nice like we know if I read. Elaine Turner, Janet Chikori, Jan Plew, Daniel Brooks, Colleen James, Seymour, Erica Gordon, Maxine Bailey, Merlin Mollison, JC Walker. What? Lorraine Williams, Patel Cruikshank, Bright Moonlight, Annie Jones. So we do it. Blessings to you all. Thank you for joining the live. It's many things. First of all, I don't know, all of a sudden I keep saying and anytime you hear legs would go with it. So I did my first I don't even know what to call it, but the first sitting of Parliament took place this week. And as a new member of Parliament, rising on my feet to ask questions to the Minister of, Gender, Entertainment, Culture, the Honorable Olivia Babsy Grange. She did her green paper. And I must say to you that my biggest critique is too many arms and no legs to go with it, right? But what I want to talk about today, you see, is always for myself. Human rights, when are they violated? Who are we protecting? Verona Shields, I see you just joined. Welcome. And what is it that we are? No, that's not a booger. It is actually my gray hairs, just in case somebody is looking and trying to figure out what's going on there. And what is it that we're protecting? Whose rights are we protecting? Is this a discussion about the right to life? Is this a discussion about murder versus self-defense of another? Is this an eye for an eye? What should we be looking for? What is it that's going on in our society that there is such a moral decay and almost a non-recognition of protecting the citizens of this country? So I'm addressing the fact that I'm really genuinely of the view that there's an attack on the youth of this country. From who, what, where, when, and why is answers that we have to ascertain. We have to attempt to seek what these answers to those questions that I just asked would come up with. Why am I even speaking on this? Well, I'm just perusing the newspaper and young girl is found with her body partially burnt. Young person missing. Autistic kid gets hit by car. The question is not about, in relation to that I'm speaking about, is not that the car hit this young man, but who was videoing, who was allowing an autistic child or a child with any form of disability the freedom to do something so dangerous, and whose judgment was lacking in a situation like that. Mass shooting, 4-year-old dies, 10-year-old dies, 16, 18, 17-year-old shot in central Kingston. Is it reprisal? No, it can't be reprisal, because I'm away here, just leaving the University of the West Indies to participate in Legally Speaking with some of the brightest and youngest minds in the Caribbean, getting educated at, of course, the University of the West Indies Faculty of Law. And on my way back, I'm perusing the newspaper, and I see that the suspects in the Commodore mass shooting were murdered or killed in extrajudicially killed in 2 separate incidents. And then issues of due process and presumption of innocence and the fact finding, seeking the truth lost, opportunities for justice misplaced, questions and wondering, will it be a situation like the Dr. Bloomfield, former member of parliament for Portland Eastern, whose family never got justice because we don't know today whether or not the person who was charged and absconded from a courtroom is responsible for actually committing the crime. We don't even know if that person is alive. So when we read and hear that there's a mass shooting, the public wants a trial, and the best and brightest from the office of the DPP, and whether or not there is a new DPP, whether it is the acting who will get the job or somebody else, I don't know, and whether they'll put the best team forward to try a case so that the public who have an interest in a matter such as this will see a prosecution take place. And when you hear that whoever has committed this crime won't get the opportunity for a plea deal because justice must appear to be done and seen to be done ex parte Pinochet, and we ask these questions, and through these questions do we Okay, there you have it. Yes, and these questions are to be answered. What kind of society are we thinking about? And then I sit down and I say, here it is, a reactive society, an amendment to firearm legislation, cut and paste mechanisms, deficiencies in a legislation that I critiqued in 2022, that I made clear to young people: if you get found with a firearm, don't call me. Don't call me. You know why you're not gonna call me? Because I'm not participating and don't want to be a part of the circus and the clownism that takes place in a court where judges don't have the judicial authority to deal with cases on a case-by-case basis and recognize the situation ethics, so that when they are pronouncing on a sentence in a criminal justice system, it is so that if young people run afoul of the law, one day they can be a Isaac Buchanan. Rehabilitation successful, reintegration successful, best version of a tainted self attained. But no, Your legislators decided that they're going to destroy the youth of this nation. So much so that customs will open a barrel and see water guns and toy guns and let them in. And the owner of these guns in the barrel are allowed to pay the duty. And you even can come through the airport with the water gun them, and the customs open the bag and look at it, and you pay the duty if it's too much of them, and you walk on out into the parking lot, and the police station thereof is right there to wait on you to lock you up so you can get 15 years for imitation firearm. A complete deficiency and fallacy and incompetence displayed by the drafting of a legislation and an amendment that is causing complete injustice in a free and democratic society. So when one looks at this and one says, but what is ISA talking about? Well, there must be an amendment to the firearm legislation. There must be a reconsideration of definition at 2 and 3 and what section 5 says versus section 14. Hope I'm not misquoting. But an imitation firearm used in the commission of an offense attracts a certain amount of time. A defense that is defined in statute. Somebody said, what is the fine if one found with an illegal gun? I can't comprehend this fine for a water gun. The fine is 15 years mandatory minimum for possession of the firearm, with a maximum of life for the real firearm, but then you have a 25 years for the or 20 years if it's an imitation firearm, but a mandatory minimum of 15 years. Some sort of nonsense where and the person who says that they need water in Portland and has come on my life to say that, they didn't say that this Monday and Tuesday when water was restored in Manchester. They didn't come on the internet and says, thank you, MP, water was restored. And they behave as if when they were on the internet saying how the work was going on. You cannot politicize everything. I'm now speaking of the right to life, and I am now speaking of the situation that is an attack on the youth of this system. Rivers, streams, water, and lack of catchment areas. Opposition MP cries out to government, fix the water system so that the people can have water, including myself, for that is where I live. Water trucks owned by councillors and former members of parliament, not able to truck water because they can't teeth it anymore. Yet here it is, an interruption from a political anyway, let me just say this. We have to think about how we protect the youth of this country. We have to think about how vindictive it is to attack the children of this nation. Yes, we have to think about this, because if we don't, and the bill was the bill. This particular bill is the brainchild of the former Attorney General Mallahu Ford. I am certain that a review of this bill, the local government, hold on, yeah, and what we expect to do in terms of ensuring that if we are seeking justice, that justice is the form of justice is within the Constitution. Mandatory minimum sentences, in my mind, and I will just submit to you, is unconstitutional. I know what the CCJ said. I know the context in which these things were addressed by the Privy Council. What is not contemplated is that the context of punishment. Mandatory minimum sentences in first world countries, they can work. The road to rehabilitation in first world countries are clearly defined. Mind you, just last week, a man from Chicago, wrongfully convicted, spent 30 years in prison, was awarded $15 million. That's about 500,000 US dollars a year for the 30 years. While George Williams, who spent 50 years in prison, no conviction, is awarded less than 1 million US dollars. And lo and behold, government says, we don't think the family should be able to spend it. Let us spend it for him. We will spend and distribute and allocate the funds of a man who is well in his 70s. And so a third world country, while we continue to exercise and demonstrate the veracity, the potency of the book Animal Farm, and we have substituted our masters so that we can become the oppressors and treat the people of society, the citizens of this country, worse than the slave masters, worse than the colonial realities that we are coming from. Because I can tell you this, let's talk about America and let's talk about convictions. And I'm overlapping because there is a proposed amendment to the legislation about expungement, a step in the right direction, but quite discriminatory. In that, it now says, as long as you don't serve more than 10 years in prison, your records can be expunged when the rehabilitation period has expired. And there's a start date. 2005 is the beginning, right? And when one thinks about that, when one thinks about this, we have to then look at it and say, it cannot be that first world countries operate a certain way. For instance, in America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, Star Spangled Banner or whatever, they have mandatory minimum sentences. And the good question, Colleen James, why up to 10 years? Because why you have mandatory minimum sentences and you say a young person with a toy gun, 18 years old, have a PlayStation gun at him yard, and him just done him TikTok live, and a girl love him off, and him say, yo, if you want to see me, my girl, if you want come to Jamaica, come see me, bring a PlayStation with you, and me want a gun too, and she brings it, and police kick off him door 3 a.m. and say, we hear you have gun in here, and then the police say, bossy, that's the one for the head of the operation, we find one toy gun, and the boss say, lock him up and throw him into the truck back and charge him for illegal possession of a prohibited weapon. And then he's in possession. Judge's hands are tied regardless of the circumstances, and if he pleads guilty, she wants to give the certificate from the Criminal Justice Act, but if the Court of Appeal don't agree, it's 15 years. Hands are tied. And then the 15 years pass, and you come out, and then they said you can't get the record expunged because you served 15 years. So the punishment is a lifetime rather than an expungement. Mind you, I'm of the view that whether your records are expunged or not, self-rehabilitation and improvement of self through education is a mechanism that can get you to transcend convictions. Even if the people on X and other spaces want to not recognize that you are an attorney, well accomplished, and speak before the Privy Council, and they still think, oh, you're some dirty convict. We understand how society thinks about convictions, so much so that if you get multiple traffic tickets and you're convicted, people still think that's the worst thing that you do. So in America, having finished your sentence and you're now a convict, there are certain state facilities that you won't be able to access. However, when you say, oh, I just finished this prison sentence, I need to take a breeze out. Mind you, you're either a pedophile, a murderer, whatever it is, sentence done. You say, oh man, my head hurt me. Let me need a vacation. You just grab up your passport after having multiple convictions like R. Kelly or P. Diddy, baby oil packed in your not your carry-on, but your hand luggage. And you just take it, you just show up at the airport and you just tell the customs officer and immigration officer, yeah, I'm here to take a vacation. I'm going to Iberia Star. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, take that. Let me in. And then they'll say, all right, this happy today. Hold on. And just stamp you. And you just, with your big dirty conviction for prostitution and whatever ever it is that you have. Or if you're R. Kelly and you get out, your big conviction for peeing on people and sex with a person under the age of 16 and whatever you do, you just pop into. No sexual offenses registry. Nobody now asks you what conviction you have. You can even commit murder. And once you do your time, you drop in and you just tell the immigration officer, yeah, you know, I'm going to Sandals. I'm taking a vacation. My head is hurting me and I got a lot of US dollars with me, but don't worry, I got a lot on my credit card. You know what I mean? But I ain't got more than $10,000. So I'm just gonna be in the what do you call it? Yeah, the hotel. And yeah, I know crime is high in Jamaica, so I'm gonna stay in the hotel. I ain't going outside where it's violent and the police officers are extrajudicially killing them ninjas. I ain't doing that. You know, I ain't about that. I got a U.S. passport, and I know it's bigger and it's better than anything y'all got going on in Jamaica. So let me in. You understand? That's how we gonna do it. You get me? And then they'll say, yeah, all right, boss, got you. R. Kelly sing, you know, say, your body is calling me is my favorite song. Come show, man. And that's it. No questions asked, and you come and you do whatever you're doing, and that's it. And you get to continue to live your life. The consequences are not germane to your existence. However, as a citizen of Jamaica, let me tell you about Barbados. After your firearms conviction, they're not giving you 15 years mandatory minimum because they have a competent leader who managed to make Barbados a republic. And notwithstanding that, after you commit your crimes and you do your rehabilitation period, which is a short turnaround, with ensuring that young people aren't, and just people, the citizens of Barbados, aren't marred with convictions for the rest of their life and preventing them. So when the rehabilitation passes, the expungements come and you're gone back into the world. And they're not doing separating international police records from local police records. Do you know that somebody can get an expungement in Barbados and in Jamaica? Them say, we don't know about the conviction. We don't recognize the expungement. You're a convict, boy. A Jamaican citizen can come to Jamaica and feel the effects of a foreign conviction because of how the legislation is badly written. And so when we talk about mandatory minimum sentences for firearm, you see the lacuna, much less a toy gun. So while it is that the lawmakers and Jamaica, law enforcement in Jamaica is in the business of turning ordinary citizens into criminals, ensuring that they can't show up to pay the increased fees to get a US visa or any other visa to leave this rock for a better life. Because whether you believe it or not, Jamaica has missed the opportunity for improvement of the least among us and their lives by buying into this third term at 1 p.m. But that's a political question. But here we are, and this is our reality. We now need to collectively fix legislation. We now need to think about preserving the least among us and ensuring that they're the best of the best. We as a nation, that the only time we come together is when somebody, one tights or one panty looking something and run up and down and win goal for us, then our people that. Or if you're a dancehall artist and you end up with a #1 record and you're touring and you're famous, everybody love you. If you're an astronaut and you never spend a day in Jamaica because your family did have the sense to make sure, say, when your mother did go, she get your green card and file for your father, and provided you're not a jacket, you get your biometrics, and then them carry up and you go to America or Toronto or England, and then you make a life for yourself, and you're a second generation, and right there and then, radam, life is better. Not by government, but because your family made the decisions to leave this rock, and you become a part of the diaspora, the biggest contributors to ensuring that Jamaica don't sink like Port Royal, sink in poverty, which is the greatest crime. And while lawmakers are at it, they should just be giving out convictions for people who are poor, because that's how they behave. And so immediately, it's a simple fixing. The definition of imitation firearm found in section 2 simply needs to be modified. Then can teeth it. I will suggest it, but I'm saying that's the first thing. Secondly, I think it is not a lacuna in the law. It's bad drafting to have a catch-all provision at section 5 for what a prohibited weapon is to keep to imitation firearm. And then at the next section, it's saying that if the imitation firearm is used in the commission of an offense, the time, in other words, the commission of a felony, the time that you get is less. And furthermore, the act seems to suggest that it contemplates that the only time an imitation firearm you should be charged and possibly convicted for it is if you use it in commission of a felony. So the act is saying two different things all at the same time. And of course, there has to be a revisiting to change that position. The thing about it is, when it happened, I was crying about it from a long time. And there's a case in point before the court, and I'm going to call the young man's name. But I find it to be very vindictive to be putting up citizens that are progressive and locking them away and not giving them bail and having their lives just wither away even before conviction for an imitation firearm. Something that can bring no harm, especially when it's from possession simplicity. You didn't point it at anybody to apprehend fear. You wasn't no evidence of proceeding to commit an offense. And then you take somebody's child and you take away important days that become months, that become years, that ultimately, if it's a conviction, I remember it's not a trial by jury. The firearm legislation is tried by judge alone. Judge who's already formed opinions about black people like me and the addresses that they come from and what should happen to them as persons who, there are people who feel shouldn't be in the society. But lo and behold, you see those mandatory minimum sentences and those persons with conviction, they want your vote when election time come. Mind you, them same ones say we don't want a deportee or importees round here unless you're going to vote for them. So it is where There was a time, and I could make critiques about it, but remember, I am a beneficiary of expungement, an expungement that was received before legislative changes took place and convictions that were automatically spent when you made it to the rehabilitation period and was just a formality to be put up for expungement when you prove to them that rehabilitation has occurred. And there was a time this country has never defined what rehabilitation looked like. And rehabilitation is about, I can tell you, I'm not professing to be the poster child for rehabilitation, but but important to say to you that there is a road and a process to rehabilitation. Surrounding yourself with progressive individuals, um, attaching yourself to education. It is the only road to emancipating yourself from conviction slavery. So much so that I speak of my conviction because it forms a part of my past. It also makes me know that I would never want somebody else's child to experience that which I experienced, let alone to the continued life sentence that I am experiencing, notwithstanding the defeat and achievement in my life. So why would you, even as a police officer, knowing that the legislation is nonsense, do not exercise your discretion? How do you exercise your discretion? Take the water gun, the plastic gun, the imitation firearm at the stage of possession simpliciter and kick the idiot in them derriere and say, go on your yard, because you don't know the mishap of your life by the ignorance, which is no excuse to the law. How about that? How about exercising the extraordinary powers that you have as a police officer? Understanding that sometimes your experience on the road far exceeds the legislator's capacity and competence. They're not out there in the field, and sometimes if you stay too long inside of the house, when you go outside, you say, my God, I didn't know the sun was so hot. The AC is always there, so it's winter where I live. I have to have on a winter coat when it's hot outside, but my AC is blowing good. Probably why my light bill high so. But I think more than anything is to just make it absolutely clear. Boiler Jones, I don't know if I said that right. That's funny. The only person that make lemonade is Beyonce. She did a whole album and then she's now Cowboy Carter. She never leave him, man, Nope. Anyway, that's always like ADD, don't. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, look at that. It's we reached the 5 o'clock. It came real fast.
That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Yeah, and now let me just put some things in context so that you understand something. I have the greatest amount of respect for persons who are lawmakers, whether it be senators, members of parliament, the parliamentary caucus. Doesn't preclude me from criticizing them. And the manner in which I criticize them, there's no loss of respect. You respect the office that these people are in. Ironically, when it comes to me, nobody respects the office, and I'm a part of it now. But it doesn't. There's no love loss inside that house. So while they are on the other side and I'm on the other side, don't mix up the politics with the progressive nature of that place. So, and it wasn't even last week, it was this very week, Georgia Williams, that he was rude. But don't mix up the rudeness for nothing but political pageantry, distraction, ad hominems, attacking the person, smoke screens and red herrings. Yeah. I just think that people need to understand that at the end of the day, when the cameras are off and the lights are no longer on, that these people are, I said it a million times, they are friends, they have cordial relationships, and it's a part of the business and the politics. So nobody should rise to the point that you feel like you want to destroy somebody or you take it as high as hating somebody. And I'm saying that in the context that it has to be a space to critique what is happening. And the critique is that the legislation in relation to the firearm has to be revisited. It has to change in the shortest possible time. And if persons are incarcerated as a result of what is bad legislative amendments, there has to be retroactive application to remove persons from going through the ordeal that they have. And I think persons should also be compensated for bad legislative drafting that would have possibly taken away a lot of time out of the lives of persons. That's just my thing. But remember, we do have a scourge in this society, a unfortunate situation that, for the love of me, I don't know. Let me tell you what is nonsensical. And again, disclaimer, context matters. We live in a society that if you use a knife or a machete or a wire or anything other than a gun to commit murder, you have more protection on the road to the Privy Council for proper review of your case. The access to justice is greater. So a man who really is premeditating and decides that he wants to commit murder and he doesn't use the gun, he has more human rights than the person who uses a gun. Because in Jamaica, the gun is a tool that is just any nincompoop, any idiot just get up from afar and then squeeze, press, and the result is death of 4-year-old, death of 10-year-old, mass shooting, 5 people dead, women and children included, family members gone because bad decisions of one person or bad mind, like some members of parliament like to talk about. But bad mind turned bad name and murder as a result. Yes? And we have to remember, when you draft legislation, let's get biblical now. Pharaoh, not Moses' cousin / brother, but the Pharaoh that was Moses' father. He had Moses' law and him say, oh, if you ever strike a Pharisees, death to you. And then Moses do it. And him say, well, can't really kill him, I've got to banish him, call my son. And he sends him away. So law is for man, not man for law. Jesus came back and said, what farmer, what person is he? What shepherd is he that his sheep is lost on the Sabbath and he don't go save the one sheep? So the law is not so exacting that mandatory remains and there's no exception to the rule. And also, legislators, when they draft, them not draft no law we can catch them, which is why you can be corrupt and say, oh, there are lessons learned from all of this. I'm going to do better next time. I take up my money and give it to somebody that I know. So you don't draft. I go as far as saying the most offensive. You think anybody when me say make the sexual offenses registry public? Because me and I have no pedophile friend, family member, not like that. We burn pedophilia. So if you get caught, and so with responsible legislative drafting, and one can be a bit exacting in terms of the drafting. So you think legislators are going to open a sexual offenses registry if they're sexual offenders, or they have relatives or such? Maybe not. But in myself, when we talk about protection and right to privacy, the balance of justice means that if you have to protect the rights of others, some rights will fall to the side. It's a balancing act. So all I'm saying is when legislators are making law, it's cute to sound bright, but there must be mature consideration, and it must be prospective, which is why I looked at the green paper that was tabled or placed or spoken about by Babsy. Looked at it, even read it just recently, and said a lot of thought was put into this to make that sector entertainment practitioners, and the new type of practitioners, that's the internet people, the YouTubers and the TikTokers, and just somebody who is practicing in that industry. I thought that was progressive and mature, and it has not even reached the legislative stage as yet. So big up yourself, Keisha. You are in the house. I recognize you, the lady from the West. Yes. And how important that is. So I'm just simply saying that everything must never, the idea, sentencing is not just punitive. When you think of a sentence, it must be, what is the corrective measure? What is the mischief that the lawmaker is trying to correct? The mischief rule. So let's think about it now. I have a toy gun. I don't point at nobody, I just have it. At that stage, it's just possession simplicity. Do you think the legislator need to say that if you get in the idea of the toy gun is that it must be confiscated? The mischief to correct is that public education, that you can't have toy guns, but at the same time, we want children to want to be members of the Jamaica Defense Force and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Hopefully by then it will have competent leadership that thinks about the Constitution and doesn't support extrajudicial killings. Good, but when you are placed in institutions and you're at the top, you're going to protect the institution over anything else because that's your mandate. The thing about it, that is only one done in this country, and is the Constitution. Is the done of all dons. So anybody else that think that them greater or superior to the Constitution, you're actually talking out of the wrong orifices. Let me use it that way. And so let us just wheel it back a bit and understand that the duty as a legislator is to have be prospective minded, because we want prevention. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive. So what does being proactive look like? And somebody says, so what about a nail gun or a paint gun? That if it's shaped like the gun and it can be used and people frightened, a police officer, because of the bad legislative definition of imitation firearm, may very well say that this person was carrying it and somebody could have been intimidated, and then you end up to be a part of it being a prohibited weapon. You see masons and carpenters and tailors and persons who make furnitures have knives that are used in the trade, not ratchet, not switchblade, but knives that they need. Sometimes if you all have a kitchen knife, if the police ever feel like say you're a sexing girl, I'll lock you up for your possession of the knife under the Town and Country Act and whatever, and you're before the court. Because there are persons in the business of turning ordinary citizens into criminals. So it is that when the legislation isn't clear, it gives the police wide authority. Like, can you imagine you work for somebody that has a firearm and the holster is left in your car or left in a bag and is your boss bag and you are just the servant and your boss said, put this down because I don't want to carry it and bring it tomorrow. Then police run into your house, kick off the door, waving the 4-4, but two things not too right now, them can just kill you. So them come and say, where the gun there? Search up your house, there's no gun, but lo and behold, there's a holster, and them charge you for uncustom goods. A holster that you is not a gunman that costs not even $60 and then you dip on bail for the sum of 50,000 Jamaican dollar, and then you have to go a court and a file have to be prepared, and then I'm gonna copy the matter, and then them are gonna give disclosure, and then judge are gonna extend your bail and you have to go pay the lawyer. If I me 100,000 every appearance, and if me I come from Portland, you pay me more heap of money for transport, and you just have to spend up the money, yeah. And people say, oh, but that's a lot of money or whatever. But if you want a name brand lawyer, you have to spend the money. Anyway, that aside, you then would find that all of this is not is an administrative nightmare. It is not using the discretion and common sense of the persons who are operating in the look at E-Maria talk about 100K really. Well, I may tell you, but just a talk, E-Marie. You can't make me just sound. No, you're right, not 100K. $1 million. Dr. Evil, Austin Powers, context matters. Anyway, my business. So just putting that out there to say somebody said a $700 million I have to make by the hook or the No. Listen, you see, Jeremy Smith. Don't mix me up, I'm not the prime minister, and I don't have my ministers taking $600 million of taxpayers' money paying ministers. Leave me alone. Don't mix me up. Anyway, where that come from? 700 million by the hook of the crook. Anyway, just remember, this is context matters. Anybody want to take these things out of context? I'm just putting the situation ethics before you and saying, what would Jesus do? That's what I'm saying. And so we have to, what about the Chinese who's selling the toy guns? That's it. The Chinese can ship all the toy guns from China, and when it land at customs make you pay the duty and then you come out. But lo and behold, if when you are driving with the barrel there, you pass Hunts Bay police station and then stop you with the barrel and them open it, you get the big headline. All of the newspaper them. Yes, man caught with barrels of toy guns, prohibited weapons, and is charged with multiple of them, is facing years in prison. And then they must say, who is going to be his lawyer? And then I'm going to call Peter Champagne and Townsend and everybody. They call Isaac, they don't tell you. Don't call me for no toy gun. Don't ramp with me. After me, I'm no clown and kuno muno. Anyway, context matters. I wasn't saying those most erudite attorneys, but they always call the name brands first. And it is just to say to you how even lawyers would have to navigate that space, how judges are at pains to have to be the judicial authority over matters that are nonsensical. And so I'm just putting to the listener, to the contextualizers today, explain the deal the government have with Chinese to allow the influx of Chinese on the island. I am unable to explain that deal. I don't. Trump and the prime minister have to work out how the Chinese are carrying on in the backyard or whatever it is. But a country, a sovereign nation, is allowed to do whatever it has to do for the improvement of its society. I think a lot of times we are worried about the wrong thing. You see, what I would say is, you see, hard trust, the other stuff will come with NHT or whatever. Keisha, where the right name? Help me out so I can sound right real quick. But heart, they are training the young people in this country to be masons and carpenters and welders. Heart Trust and STA. Yeah, Heart Trust Nesta. They have you can get the requisite skills that can get you up to Heart NSTA Trust. Thank you. Yeah, so that you can get to a level 3, level 4, and then transition to the University of Technology, University of the West Indies, study engineering, study whatever you need, and get the requisite education so you can participate in the development of this country. Remember, the Chinese have built all road underwater and whatever, upon the river, upon the bank, and our road them still a washway. We see rainfall and we come to Kingston and we had spark and reach and teach and beat and fleece and development and all of that washway. All that cute stuff before election to get you, the voters, to say progress of God. All of that washway. Only reason why some of them no washway in certain places in Jamaica are called the rain no fall yet and the people them are balls so they're not in the water. But catchy levels. We cannot be saying somebody say STF up. I don't know if they're trying to tell me that, but I don't know. Also, every now and then the persons who oftentimes peruse back road as a vendor, they come on my live and try to be disrespectful. So sometimes we pause to recognize the back road babies, the back road dollies, and this is a place where, because context matters, they get to vent. Other times they're just here to be gadflies, and we welcome them. But I will just say to you that we don't block nobody who work at back road get blocked on my TikTok. Leave her alone. Yeah. So Boyle said, I'm more afraid of the machete than the gun. Believe me. I tend to agree with you, but that's why I'm saying we haven't thought about outcomes, and that's why the Privy Council in saying that the death penalty is not allowed in Jamaica is saying that the death penalty is safe for the worst of the worst. But what is the worst of the worst? The Privy Council said we will know it when we see it, not UNO. Because if we leave it to UNO, everything on the earth is bad. Everything conveniently is bad. And that is why one has to think about the future of this nation. Think about who your representatives are, who your judges are, who your prosecutors are, who it is that are the creatures of the Constitution that are there to serve you. It is not to get in power and go on like you're better than people. So you will hear for the next 5 years that Isaac is unparliamentarian and him is a butu with a Benz and him is everything that is bad, because I'm not walking around like I'm a pompous idiot. And it doesn't mean that I am of any less or inferior intelligence than anybody else, because I assure you, chances are it is the opposite. And I say that when somebody say, oh, you're gray overnight. Well, I've said on this program before, it's not that I'm a gray overnight. I stop dyeing my beard. I just show you how I love myself and comfortable with myself. Me all have gray on my finger and on my toes. And if it's on my finger and on my toes and under my nose, you know it's there everywhere. All right. We're not going to talk about that again. So anyway, that being said, we have to think about what we're doing to protect our citizens. I was sidetracked by the water conversation, but I should have said to you, first world countries, whether it be Australia, England, Canada, America, their people, when they're convicted, they fly all over the world. They're not restricted. They may be restricted if they're trying to work in certain spaces, but they come out of jail tomorrow. In fact, I know people who was locked up with me, and they're from America, and they can come here. They can come here the day after that they get out. They just get their passports and they come here. In Jamaica, when you get a conviction, it's on your record, and you go to the embassy and you take up your $75,000 or your $100,000 no, and apply for the visa, and they ask for the police record, and then they see that you were convicted, and that's it for you. You're dead in the show. You can't go nowhere. And so sometimes the sentence is so light, but the ramification of the conviction is life lasting, and some people cannot overcome it. And so it shows that you are living in a third world country, because the people in the first world country, whether them black or them white, them superior to you. We are talking about a firearm legislation with mandatory minimums, when in America, high school shootings are like 400 for the year. Sometimes every time, just go on YouTube and look at it. It don't even matter who the president is, from Obama to Joe Biden to Ronald Reagan and Bush, senior and junior. Yeah? Somebody said 400 for the months. I'm not exaggerating. I'm actually underreported. They all say the same thing, because the police, the mass shootings. Remember, we had a mass shooting in Commodore, and it is the worst of the worst in Jamaica. In fact, those who did it were to be brought to justice, but as I said, I looked in the newspaper and it said that in 2 separate incidents. I don't know how you and your friend go shoot up someplace, and then you and them now run up and down and evade the law in 2 separate incidents, get gunned down. Just hear me out. The presidents get up and said, a sad day in America, when you can be at school and some white boy comes in, and because he is suffering from affluenza, didn't get McDonald's this morning, and his parents brought the firearm and he was shot. But the Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms. Get back to it. People have more kids because gun control, we have no authority. They talk something like that. Says, oh, it's huge, but I'm too busy deporting people. I have no time. Guns are wrong, and we got to do something about it. But every time I do an executive action, those judges, they don't understand. I am trying to protect the American people. Can't you understand? In fact, why are the Chinese in Jamaica? Maybe I should call Andrew and ask him, what are they doing in my backyard? I'm Donald Trump. But anyway, point I'm making is, while we are criminalizing toy guns and destroying the lives of the youth and breaching. I find it to be a serious human rights violation. I think to take away the freedom for a toy gun is an affront to constitutionality and the power that derives from it in terms of protecting, especially that which is demonstrably justifiable in a free and democratic society. This is not one of them. It is exactly that. Ridiculous. And so, somebody says, since this week a Jamaican killed his own parents. I don't know how to respond to that, because what we have, they said it was under control. So I want to know why, as election done, people are dead. And the reward, why, if the reward is $2 million, you're gonna kill the people them. You know, bring them in so somebody can collect the $2 million, a lot of money that, you know. Right? So that's where I'm at in terms of processing. In the States. Right, but that's in the States. I mean, it's a lot of people in the United States. It's only 3.5 people. We reach 3.5 right now. Whatever we are in Jamaica, it's a little bit of us. And I just think that every citizen is to be protected. I think that we're supposed to increase the use and public education about restorative justice. I think that while persons are being put to prison about firearms violations and petty crimes, the biggest crime is the great land grab that's taking place in Jamaica and disenfranchising the people. I still think that the only crime in Jamaica that should get national attention as a public emergency is poverty. I think that looking at the reality that it takes about $600,000 to enter the human index to live as a human being in any society across the world. Yeah, that is of importance in my mind. So, how do we? Yeah, Chevy says having a toy gun is a crime. The author of that bill, Amado. Notice in other countries having a toy gun is a crime, but the sentencing aspect of it is more realistic. And the defense and justification of having that is also contemplated. The mischief that we're trying to correct is that crimes are not committed with firearms, whether real or fake. And I shall have you know, which is why public education is important. You can have a black gun, but you also can have a stapler. And you can point the stapler in a situation at nighttime when it's night and the lighting is wrong, and you can say, hey, don't move. And somebody, if them have heart attack, remember in a causation, say you take your victim as you find them say the stapler back way and you stay so. And they say, Lord God, it's a gun this, and them get heart attack and dead. You commit murder. You take your victim as you find them. That's the actual rule. But I can tell you, this stapler, if you're to go by the firearm legislation, this is enough to apprehend fear. And I'm looking at it right now, and they might come kick off my door and say, it look like him have gone over there. But I just want you to appreciate it as a stapler made to you by, I can't read that because it's in a join up. I'm in a read join up. I only read script. Anyway, yeah. One has to again look at the context and the mischief that is trying to correct. I will say more of it certainly in the parliament. Zolika Jess, my comrade sister from St. Elizabeth, who is the spokesperson on justice. She has made statements about it. Shout out as well to Kimberly Whitaker, who is an attorney who has voice our opinion on it in a space where many other attorneys have, but in recent times, checking about it. And as I said, there's a young man right now languishing in detention over toy guns, and how the state will compensate him when the state comes to realize that this is a great mistake, this is a big mistake that's happening. And as the portfolio for youth and human rights, I can tell you, it is an attack on the youth of this country. It is an attack on human rights. It's actually putting persons in situation where they're dehumanized, and prejudging is also one of the biggest crimes in this country, because people are allowed to just say anything about people and it's okay. These days the police is allowed to kill you and just say that you're a member of the street goat gang, whatever that means. And there are selfish government don't no backside. Okay, boil up. But I mean, the advocacy behind this needs to be a little bit more vigorous. I've heard the sounds of other officers. I've understood some of the things that was being said. What I will say though, in light of all of this, in light of all of this, is that there's much work to be done. And again, my complaint was twofold. You have the mandatory minimum, you're sending persons to prison for 15 years minimum, and then there's an amendment to the expungement legislation that caps the expungement capacity at 10 years for certain crimes. And a lot of the times that people need to appreciate that in law, there's something called mala prohibita and mala non se. So the mala prohibita is crimes of prohibition. There was a time when having a ganja spliff could get you a conviction, and then Mark Golding, which could not be expunged, and Mark Golding, well, it could be expunged, let me not say that, but Mark Golding made changes to the legislation, from through the drafting, made it decriminalize certain aspects of it, so you couldn't even get locked up for the spliff. Now they even find ways to ticket you and lock you up if you're smoking the spliff in a public place. But the general rule is, for religious purposes, they can't touch you. For a certain amount, they can't touch you. But at the same time, it brings into perspective that there was a time when in America, ganja was so illegal until them legalize it, and then they have ganja farms and they're selling it. But your grandparents were sent to prison for 40 years and 50 years in the 70s and 80s for marijuana. That is now a top tier industry and business, and in Jamaica, because it is decriminalized, banks won't even give you a loan so you can go plant your ganja and be a part of a thriving industry. But maybe I'm not the person of authority to talk about that. I remember me have my 2 dirty conviction them for drugs, and people gonna say, here I try legalize coke and crack. Mexico has legalized it though, and other places in the world have found the value of legalizing mala prohibita, crimes of prohibition. There was a time when alcohol was illegal and people would go to prison for it. Now look at Jay, Ray, and Fim nephew them. Look at Visa. I'm just saying. So one has to look about regulatory crimes, especially that which is non-violent, conviction classifications, not by schedule, where them just paint everything with a broad brush. Empress, High Priestess, why you laughing? What I say? What did I say? What did I do now? And also looking at how to treat with that. Because I'm of the view, non-violent offenders in a place like Jamaica, where the prison conditions are inhumane to the point where I don't know why they have persons incarcerated, and I don't know why they have persons incarcerated like dogs. So non-violent offenders should be as a last resort that you send them to prison, i.e. repeat offenders, strike 3 and you go to prison. Apart from that, they should have kept the system where you pay your fine and in lieu of fine you do time. So if your family no want you there prison, pay the state and come out of prison. And I think as well as followed by the requisite rehabilitation period, proof of rehabilitation, expungement come after conviction spent, an assessment made, and then the expungement board would have more teeth to go by case basis and take off a lot of pressure on the minister, who will get cursed if him see that somebody, if he comes across somebody like me that's actually rehabilitated and say, here's an extraordinary proof of rehabilitation, and vetoes what the legislation says. Yeah, so that is a reality. Sandra, I trust me, I can tell you. There was a time when, because crack was a black man's invention, the same ounce of crack could get you 60 years in prison and all kind of stuff, while the cocaine was less. And then Obama had done changes in legislation because he didn't see the value in the discriminatory form. So legislation, when drafted, when it displays discrimination, i.e. as the firearm legislation has done, because I can tell you this, them now go uptown where the picnic them have them PlayStation gun and lock up anybody. They're not gonna go into an uptown person's house and see the children playing with a toy gun and lock up the parents. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna go into gated communities and say they have search warrants and do that to them. So the discrimination is coming from the address where you're at. And this thing where JPs, I have greatest respect for JPs all over Jamaica, but let's just be for real. I have the greatest respect for police officers. There are police officers that are corrupt. So in all systems, it is the human aspect of it that the flaws come in. So no matter how good the legislation is, there's a requirement that the execution of it by the executive is where a lot of times things are going to fall short. And I'm just saying, even in first world countries, especially even at the court, the final court, for instance, the Privy Council, they literally apologize for not being able to overturn a conviction. Says to you that their mindset is to find a way to ensure that at a minimum they got it right by convicting you in the first place. So the court of review is to review with your constitutional rights in mind. Yeah, we understand about the victim, but the justice system is about ensuring that if it's going to punish, it does so correctly. And so certainly it's the same rule applies. Apart from when some people are so disgusting, judges have to say, I give you the full arm of the law. A lot of times I said, I'm sorry that I have to convict you and hope that you will overcome this with the systems that we have in place to correct the errors of your ways. Because punishment is just one aspect of a prison sentence, rehabilitation and reintegration. Because remember, at the end of it, you have to go back in society with your one life and function. So when they send you to prison, they do so to correct your ways. So the question is, if a young man have a toy gun, him never take it to a step. So I'm talking about a young man with the intention to have a toy gun. Him never go get the real ricky-ticky rat-tat-tat-tat. Yeah. He never get that. He never get the actual gun and have an illegal gun that can bring harm to society. So whatever his frame of mind or thought is, it's something that can be corrected. The question to you, Jamaica, the question to you, diaspora, the question to anybody that has an interest about this, is 15 years a duration needed to tell somebody that you shouldn't have a toy gun and toy guns can be mistaken for real guns? I think that can be a conversation. And so I there's a lot of learning where this is concerned, because if the police officers are not looking at human rights, if the police officers are not looking at the objects, the mystery that the legislation is trying to correct and use their experience, then perhaps when legislators are drafting, they contemplate that the persons who are put in the position to execute will misinterpret. And so that is why the literal rule is so important, because the legislation is supposed to be so clear that nobody is to misinterpret it. And when we are legislating, we aren't to be taking power away from judges, because the judges must be able to look and say, young man, I'm sorry that I have to send you to prison. But as I am doing so, I believe that it just requires 2 years for you to correct this wrong. And I'm rooting for you to become something great in life. I'm rooting for you to become a productive member of society. That's the conversations judges are supposed to have with especially young people who run afoul of the law. I can go as far as saying, let alone a man who is 50 and for the first time he's going before the court. Questions are to be asked: how you reach 50 and never broke the law, and now you find yourself. And usually those persons are persons who, my brother did not try to take my land and me lick him with the buckle and him dead. Me name mean for kill him. That's an unfortunate situation. That Cain and Abel reality is about how can we find intervention, because nobody win when the family feud. Nobody. Family court is a great disaster, especially when a man and woman drama. A great disaster. We name daddy when you did at the bed and you not do the diddy stuff them, and all of a sudden we have to endure a whole trial where Cassie go on like say she's the victim and never a part of none of the stuff, and then P Diddy. We don't want to bring the courts into that. Right? So we just have to continue having the conversations. Moving forward, I am going to open the call line so that persons can interact with me, especially my constituents from Portland Eastern, who have a lot of questions about why the water not turned on, why is there a rat infestation at Case, why is there the illegal bottling of coconut water that can cause persons to be sick, why is the garbage not being taken up, why are you not spending $150 million to correct the lives, and we don't care that the constituency fund is depleted, $0 left in the education fund from the former MP who rightfully would have spent the education fund for back to school because she had an election to win. And just questions, how are we going to fix things, and is it that what else is happening where that is concerned? I'm just putting these things out to say I'm giving us space for my constituents to speak to me, especially if they have public grouse. I remember my constituents include persons who didn't vote for me, persons who don't like me now because I took out their favorite MP. I'm still here for you. The politics is over, and growth, improvement of your life is the mandate. We are entering the deep and bringing the heat in the same manner to improve the economy. So all if you don't like me and all if you vexed me, The office is there for you, but you might not want to come to the office. I'm going to open the line and you can tell me how I'm ugly and how that's why I'm a gray up, I'm a stress out, and all the things you want to tell me. But be mindful, be respectful, understand that the only way for there to be improvement is to work together. I genuinely feel that way. And again, I continue to say to the diaspora, especially, I don't get permission to call in the names, but great respect for the barrels that were sent with the books and the school items and the clothes and the shoes and the pampers and the pads for the young girls and the tampons for the young girls and just everything that you guys send. Continue to send them. I will continue to distribute them. The work don't stop, and don't take. Remember, in Jamaica, all the money, you know, but I don't want to feel like say, for me, I'm not too proud to beg for my constituents. I'm not too. I don't have a problem. It's better me beg and you tell me no than them have to beg and I hear the no. So I do the best that I can do. I recognize that government don't have the resources and the capacity to fix just even the simplest of issues when it comes to any constituency. I guess as soon as they figure it out, they don't have to dance around the elephant in the room that we are still a developing country. We don't even reach second world yet. We're still third world, but it's politically incorrect to say that. And Jamaica needs a lot of help. It remains a high crime society, which means the citizens who have to fend for themselves to ensure that they are okay. The best way to escape poverty is through education, and the best way to uplift your life is to work together and ensure that if your community is improved, your life will be improved. An improvement of life. Big up yourself in a well-made. That's a Jermaine. If your lives are improved, not by the roads on the road, but by the quality of life that you're living, where you sleep at night, the roof that you have over your head, housing security, the food that you eat, 3 meals a day, yeah, the quality of the meal, organic food, and just ensuring that protein security is also important. Why eat chicken back when you can be eating chicken? And if Lexi were here, I would say, if you don't eat the duck, you know where the rest go. But even that, and you know, which is why we are supposed to eat what we grow, eat what Lexi did, shall laugh. But yeah, and just basically have that conversation. Protein security is a conversation. It could be a whole entire episode where we talk about protein security. But sometimes some of the people look how them look, you see, because I can tell you, hold on. Oh, so it is official. Yeah. Anyway, so these are the things to basically look at. I will say that we have a lot of work to do in terms of what the future of this country will look like. I hope that one day nepotism will be a thing of the past. I hope that we recognize that if we want to be a Barbados, it requires the reality that we need the type of cooperation and the type of leadership that will think about improving the lives of the least among us. I am going to be patient to see if this time around the people will be included in the progress of Jamaica. so that water is not politicized. Access to healthcare is not politicized. We're not going to market, neither you nor me, for healthcare. We ensuring that at the local government level that people are considered. We're going to ensure that where security is concerned, that the mandate of extrajudicial killings is pulled back and life preserved, and work on appreciating that every single Jamaica, where we as Jamaicans are the most important human specimen on the planet, is preserved by us, even if nobody don't think about us. So I say to the kings and the queens that are born in Jamaica, find your crown, wear your crown, respect yourself. Don't make them small you up. I can't stop saying this. Don't let your voice die inside of you. Speak out. It's strength in numbers. I think Portland Eastern prove that it's not money, it's strength in numbers. They believe in me, and it's my time to do the rest. And to do that, it has to be collective participation, right? And that is the strength of the conversation. That's where I'm at in my mind. Certainly, I want to say to just the persons who support this live, thank you for your continued support. We are here, the diaspora, my greatest supporter on the internet, whether through TikTok, whether through YouTube, Instagram. Thank you for always showing up. Thank you for believing in me. And as I continue to work on being the best version of myself, and I just thank you for continuing to be there. There's nothing like support from afar, close, and that's what it's about. And yes, so Walking in Divine Purpose said it, the tablet drive, we are relaunching it again to see how much we can come up with again to distribute. So you are put on notice. The tablet drive is coming again. Feel free, you can bring the own tablets or continue to send the funds to purchase the tablets. The same thing, I'm of the view that education in the technological era is what we need to be doing. And I'm just saying to everybody that, remember, every child is our child. We don't know where the greatest one coming from. So we have to grow them in the way that we want from them. I'm telling you, I was at the University of the West Indies today, Faculty of Law, and I'm pleased with the quality of students that remain to come through the University of the West Indies. Being educated can change your life. So remember, it's all in life. Keep your head up, keep the strive. No time for living a lie. Big up yourself, Kern. God bless. Big up yourself as well. Y'all need to take me now. Come on for TikTok until you take me to the 100K life. And I need to send me lion and tigers and stellas and bear. When the things say only Rosalie and them people, they forget them things. When I think I want to build a house like what's your name, Mackerel? When I think I want to build a house too, send me some gifts. Anyway, see you guys next week. You guys were awesome as always. So take it easy.
It took some time to understand, yeah, just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry, that's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry, that's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it. Take it to the next level when they come around. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.